The sharp sound of shattered glass sliced through the calm of the evening. Amara flinched as the wine glass slipped from Leonard's hand and crashed onto the marble floor. For a moment, there was silence. Then came the rush of footsteps as the housekeeper ran in with a towel. But Leonard's gaze wasn't on the mess. It was fixed on the headline flashing from the television. Charity founder. Once a disgraced maid, the anchor's voice echoed. Leaked employment records revealed that Amara Leonard, founder of the Amara Foundation for Girls, once worked as a housemaid in a controversial home incident involving her current husband, Leonard Okafo. Amara's throat went dry. The room suddenly felt colder. She reached for the remote with trembling fingers and turned off the TV, but the silence that followed was louder than the news itself. Leonard's face was unreadable. His jaw tightened as he turned to her. "Who leaked that file?" I don't know," she stammered. "It's supposed to be sealed. I paid for the record to be withdrawn years ago." He rubbed his forehead, pacing slowly. "They won't stop until they destroy everything we built." Amara sank into the couch, her heart pounding. The last few years had been everything she once dreamed of. Running a foundation, saving girls who had suffered like she once did. But success had enemies, and it seemed one of them had finally found her weak spot. She buried her face in her hands. "Leonard, maybe this is my punishment for ever hiding the truth." He knelt before her, lifting her chin gently. "No, you didn't hide the truth. You just moved past it. Don't let them rewrite your story." She met his eyes and felt tears gather. "What if they already have?" Outside, the sound of distant camera clicks echoed through the gate. Reporters had gathered, shouting her name. "Mrs. Leonard, is it true you seduced your former boss? Amara, did you use charity funds to cover up your past?" Each question stabbed like a knife. Leonard immediately stood and called out to security. "Tell them to leave the compound. No interviews." Amara watched him, her chest tightening. The same man who had once rescued her from humiliation was now standing between her and the world again. But deep down, she feared this time even he might not be able to stop the storm. Later that night, when the house grew quiet, Amara stood by the window, watching the city lights flicker. She whispered, almost to herself, "God, I don't understand. Why now?" Behind her, Leonard wrapped his arms around her waist. "Because your light is shining too bright. Shadows only chase light, Amara." She smiled faintly, but her eyes glistened. "Then I wish the light would rest for a while. I'm tired, Leonard." He kissed her forehead. "Sleep. Tomorrow we'll face them together." But morning came with heavier clouds. Her phone rang, non-stop. Calls from sponsors, journalists, even former beneficiaries, asking if the rumors were true. Her assistant, Clara, ran into the office, her face pale. "Ma, the Johnson Foundation just pulled out of next month's event. They said they can't associate with controversy." Amara's pen dropped. "Controversy?" she whispered. "They called my life a controversy." Leonard entered just then, handing her a folder. "It gets worse," he said quietly. "Someone's spreading documents claiming the foundation misused funds." Her breath caught. "What? That's impossible." He nodded grimly. "They even included doctored receipts. Whoever is behind this knows what they're doing." Amara's head spun. "It's Belinda, isn't it? She's the only one who still hates me enough to do this." Leonard sighed. "I thought she left for London." "She did," Amara muttered, gripping the edge of her desk. "But hatred travels faster than planes." For a moment, neither spoke. The tension in the room thickened, heavy with fear and pride. Then Leonard took her hand. "Whatever happens, we'll face it head on. You saved lives with this foundation, Amara. Don't let lies stop you. But as he said those words, a knock came on the office door. Sir, the security guard said nervously. There's a woman outside. Says her name is Belinda. Amara froze. The air around her shifted. Leonard's expression darkened. Tell her to leave, he snapped. But a familiar voice came from the hallway, sharp and uninvited. Oh, Leonard. Still playing the protective husband, I see. Belinda stepped into the office, wearing a designer dress and a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Relax, I didn't come to fight. Amara's pulse raced. She forced herself to stand tall. Then why are you here? Belinda looked her up and down. To congratulate you, of course. The whole city's talking about you. From maid to charity queen. What a fairy tale. Leave, Leonard said firmly. But Belinda laughed softly. Oh, come on. You think you can silence me again? I have files, Leonard. Screenshots, bank statements, even audio recordings of your dear wife's little confessions. I can ruin her with one upload. Amara stepped forward, her voice trembling with anger. What do you want? Belinda tilted her head. Half the foundation's revenue for the next year. Or, I press send. Leonard's eyes widened. You're blackmailing her? I'm offering her peace, Belinda replied, smirking. That's what she wanted when she stole mine. Stole your peace? Amara shot back. You threw me out of your house like trash. If anything, you stole my dignity. Belinda's smile vanished. You stole my husband. Leonard's voice thundered. Enough. You were never my wife, Belinda. We dated. That's all. Stop rewriting history. The confrontation escalated until Belinda finally left, but not before whispering, You have 72 hours. After that, the world will know everything. When she was gone, Amara collapsed into a chair, shaking. Leonard, what if she's telling the truth? What if she really has something? He knelt beside her. Let her talk. The truth will defend itself. But his words couldn't calm the storm in her chest. That night, Amara dreamt of her past, scrubbing floors, being slapped, sleeping under bridges. She woke up sweating, whispering, Not again. Please, not again. The next day, social media exploded. Fake charity trended on Twitter. Edited clips of her old interviews circulated, twisted to make her sound manipulative. Bloggers published lies about Leonard's company, calling it a money laundering cover-up. Amara scrolled through the comments until Leonard gently took the phone from her. Stop reading that. I can't, she said weakly. They're tearing me apart. He cupped her face. Then let them tear your image, not your heart. You are still the woman who fed orphans with her own hands. They can't take that away. Tears streamed down her face. I worked so hard for those girls, Leonard. Now they'll think I'm a fraud. He pulled her into his arms. We'll fix this, even if we have to start from scratch. But just as his words gave her a glimmer of strength, Clara burst into the room again. Sir, ma'am, reporters are outside the gate again. This time they have cameras. Leonard exhaled deeply. I'll handle it. But Amara grabbed his hand. No, Leonard, let me talk to them. Amara, I need to face this. If I hide, they'll believe I'm guilty. He hesitated, then nodded. Okay. But I'm standing right beside you. They walked out together, the cameras flashing like lightning, microphones pushed forward, questions flying. Mrs. Leonard, did you fake your charity reports? Is it true your foundation is collapsing? Were you ever a maid in your husband's house? Amara raised her chin, her voice steady but firm. Yes, she said. I was once a maid. I was poor, humiliated and broken. But I am not ashamed of my story. I turned my pain into purpose, and I will not apologize for rising. The crowd went silent for a beat. Then she continued, her eyes glistening. If you think this scandal will stop me from helping girls like I once was, you're wrong, because this isn't the end of my story. It's just another chapter. Leonard's hand squeezed hers. Cameras clicked. Some reporters even lowered their mics, visibly moved. But just as hope returned, a man in the crowd shouted, "Then explain this." He held up a tablet showing screenshots, bank transfers, all labeled with her foundation's name. Amara's heart dropped. The reporter zoomed in. "These show money going to your personal account. Care to explain, ma'am?" Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. Leonard took a step forward. "Those are fake," he said sharply. "We'll prove it." But the damage was already done. Within hours, every news outlet carried the same image. Amara Leonard, caught in financial scandal. The weight of it broke something inside her. She shut herself in her room that night, staring at the ceiling until dawn. When Leonard finally entered, she whispered without looking at him, "Maybe the world was right. Maybe I don't belong in this kind of life." He sat beside her quietly. "You belong with me, Amara, and we're going to fight this together. But you have to promise me one thing. Don't lose yourself." She turned to him, tears spilling. "Then help me find her again." The sound of thunder rolled across the sky as Amara stormed into her office the next morning. She slammed her phone on the desk, the screen still flashing notifications. "They've frozen the foundation's account," she said, her voice shaking. "Every single donation gone." Clara looked up from her chair, pale and trembling. "The auditors said there's an ongoing investigation. Someone submitted an anonymous petition claiming embezzlement." Leonard entered behind her, holding a stack of documents. His face was drawn, sleepless. "They're saying you forged financial statements, Amara. But look at this. Half of the transactions they're quoting don't even exist in our records." Amara rubbed her temples. "Then who created them?" "Someone inside," he said quietly. "Someone with access." Her heart stopped. "Inside?" "No. Everyone here started with me from scratch. I trained them myself." He hesitated. "Everyone except the new finance assistant. What's her name again?" "Rita," Clara murmured. Amara's breath quickened. Rita had been her most trusted helper, soft-spoken, loyal, always staying late. She had even cried once, saying Amara was like a mother to her. Leonard continued. "She resigned suddenly last week. No notice. No goodbye." Amara's voice broke. "Leonard, she has all the passwords." He nodded grimly. "I've already sent our tech team to trace the activity. We'll know by tomorrow." But tomorrow came with worse news. Rita's number was switched off, and her account had been wiped clean. The forensic report confirmed it. Transactions were faked from her login. Amara dropped the printed sheet, staring blankly at the floor. "She used my kindness against me," she whispered. Leonard sat beside her, rubbing her back gently. "You trusted her. That's not a crime." She turned to him, her eyes red. "It feels like one. I keep giving people second chances, Leonard, and they keep using them to destroy me." He cupped her face. "You don't stop being good because someone took advantage of your goodness." But before she could answer, her phone buzzed again, another message from an unknown number. It read, "You think the worst is over? Watch the news at 6. At 6, the evening broadcast played a leaked video. Amara in her office, arguing with a man over money. Her voice, edited and spliced, made it sound like she was demanding a cut from the foundation's donations. Her chest tightened. "That's not real," she cried. "That's from the day I confronted the supplier for inflating prices." Leonard punched the table in frustration. "They're twisting everything." The news anchor's words hit like blows. Sources claim the video was leaked by a former staff member seeking justice. Clara covered her mouth, sobbing. "Ma, this is getting out of hand." Amara stood frozen. Every second felt heavier than the last. They want to erase everything I've built. Leonard stepped closer. Then we'll fight. We'll go public, show evidence, call a press conference. But Amara shook her head slowly. If I talk now, they'll twist my words again. No one listens to a woman once the world has decided she's guilty. He sighed deeply, looking into her tired eyes. Then what do we do? She looked out the window, where rain was beginning to fall. We wait, and we pray. That night, she walked into the foundation hall, the same hall where she had once celebrated its opening, surrounded by laughter and joy. Now it stood empty. Chairs overturned, files scattered, banners torn down by the audit team. Her steps echoed across the cold floor. She ran her hand along the wall where the photos of rescued girls once hung. We built this with faith, she whispered. How did it all turn into ashes? Her phone rang again. Another number, another taunt. This time, a voice message. Belinda's voice. I warned you, Amara. You should have given me what I asked for. Now you'll lose it all, just like you made me lose everything. Amara's hands shook as she deleted the message. She's a monster, she muttered. Leonard walked in quietly. She's desperate, and desperate people burn everything around them. She turned to him, tears spilling freely. Leonard, maybe I should just step down. Let them take the foundation, the board, everything. I'm tired. He pulled her close, holding her tightly. If you step down, you'll be giving them exactly what they want. Amara, you are the heartbeat of this place. Without you, the girls will lose hope. She broke down completely, sobbing against his chest. I'm scared. I don't even recognize myself anymore. He whispered into her hair. Then let me remind you, you're the same woman who rose from dust, the same girl who turned rejection into purpose. Don't let lies steal that from you. But her heart was still heavy. 2 days later, her fears deepened. The foundation's major sponsor filed a withdrawal notice, citing ethical concerns. Several girls from her program were taken away by their guardians, afraid of the backlash. Amara watched the bus drive off with them, her hand pressed against the gate, tears streaking her face. They're taking my children away from me, she whispered. Leonard placed a hand on her shoulder. You'll get them back. But she shook her head. Not this time. As days passed, she stopped attending board meetings. She barely ate, barely spoke. Leonard tried everything. Flowers, prayers, gentle words. But she only sat by the window, staring into space. One evening, he found her sitting on the floor beside her wedding photo. Do you ever regret it? She asked suddenly. He frowned. Regret what? Marrying me, she whispered. If you hadn't, your company wouldn't be suffering. People wouldn't call you the husband of a fraud. He knelt beside her. Amara, listen to me. If I had to do it all over again, I'd still choose you, even if it meant losing everything else. Her lips trembled. But we're losing everything, Leonard. The world loved our story when it was beautiful. Now they hate it because it's human. He smiled faintly through the pain. Then we'll make them see beauty again. She looked into his eyes, searching for hope. How? By standing, he said simply, even when it hurts. But that night, another blow landed. The government froze the foundation's license pending investigation. Her name was placed on a watch list. Sponsors cut all ties. The board called an emergency meeting without inviting her. Clara arrived at her house the next morning, eyes swollen from crying. Ma, they voted to dissolve your position. They said it's to protect the organization's image. Amara stared at her blankly. So I'm being erased from my own story? Clara broke down. I tried to speak for you, but they wouldn't listen. Amara smiled faintly, a bitter, tired smile. Don't cry, Clara. This is what happens when you rise too high. They look for wings to break. She walked out to the compound, barefoot, letting the morning dew soak her feet. Leonard followed quietly. "Where are you going?" he asked. She pointed toward the distance. "To the only place that still feels real." He didn't stop her. He knew exactly where she meant. Minutes later, her car pulled up in front of a small wooden kiosk by the roadside. The smell of fried plantain filled the air. An old woman looked up from her stove, Mama Ife. "Amara," the woman gasped, wiping her hands. "Ah, my daughter!" Amara ran into her arms, breaking down completely. "Mama, everything is gone. They took my foundation, my name, everything." Mama Ife held her tightly, rocking her like a child. "Shh, don't say that. You still have breath. You still have God." "But I failed them," Amara sobbed. "All the girls I wanted to help, they think I'm a thief." Mama Ife touched her face gently. "Let them talk. A tree with ripe fruits always gets stones thrown at it." Amara looked up at her through tears. "But Mama, what if I can't stand again?" The woman smiled softly. "Then kneel and pray. The ground is still holy." The words sank deep into her soul. That night, Amara stayed in Mama Ife's small room, lying on a thin mat, staring at the cracked ceiling. For the first time in years, she slept without air conditioning, without servants, without noise, just peace and the sound of crickets outside. She woke at dawn to the call of a rooster and the smell of firewood. Mama Ife was already cooking. "Come, my daughter," she said warmly. "Eat. Strength first, then battle." Amara sat quietly, tears in her eyes. "Mama, I don't even know where to start." Mama Ife smiled. "Start where you fell. That's where grace begins." Amara exhaled slowly, a spark of strength returning. "Do you think people will ever believe me again?" she asked softly. Mama Ife looked at her firmly. "You don't need everyone to believe you. You just need truth to stand up for itself." Amara nodded slowly, her voice breaking. "Then I'll make truth stand. You see, life will test your heart when it knows you're built for more. If you believe Amara still deserves her happy ending, drop a comment below your words. Might just keep someone else holding on." She took out her phone, opened the camera, and began recording herself. Her eyes were swollen, her voice hoarse, but her spirit raw and alive again. "My name is Amara Leonard," she began softly. "And yes, I was once a maid. But I've never stolen anything from anyone. Not their money, not their love, not their truth. I built my foundation from pain, not deceit. And if I have to start from zero again, I will." The next morning, the video had gone viral. Hashtags of support flooded social media, some with tears and prayers, others with testimonies of women inspired by her story. Leonard sat beside her, scrolling through comments that were no longer full of hate, but of hope. "Look," he said, pointing to a comment from a former beneficiary. "You taught me that even broken girls can build kingdoms. Thank you, Amara." Amara smiled weakly, the first genuine smile in weeks. Maybe it's not too late." Leonard squeezed her hand. "It's never too late." The phone rang again. This time it was an unfamiliar number. Amara hesitated, but answered. "Mrs. Leonard?" a calm male voice said. "My name is Dr. Chukwu. I run a private foundation that supports women's charities. I saw your video. I believe in your cause and want to help restore your foundation." Tears welled in her eyes. You would really do that?" "Yes," he replied. "Truth speaks louder than lies, and people are ready to listen again. You just need a chance to rebuild." Amara hung up, staring at Leonard. This could work." Over the next few days, a wave of support arrived. Volunteers came forward to help, some even bringing financial assistance. Former sponsors apologized publicly for doubting her integrity. Even a few journalists reached out to correct their earlier stories. One afternoon, as she walked through the foundation hall now filled with helpers, repainting walls and organizing files, Amara paused. The room felt different, not just cleaner, but alive again. She ran her hands over the photographs of the girls she had helped. "We're coming back," she whispered. Leonard appeared behind her, arms crossed with a proud smile. "You never lost it, Amara. You just needed to remember who you are." She turned to him, her eyes shining with determination. "And I will. I'll rebuild, stronger this time. Not just for me, but for every girl who needs to believe that their past doesn't define their future." That evening, they stood together on the balcony of their home, looking out at the city lights flickering beneath the rain-slicked streets. The storm that had raged through their lives was fading, leaving a quiet clarity in its place. Amara leaned into Leonard, resting her head on his shoulder. "We survived it," she said softly. He kissed the top of her head. "And we'll thrive from it. This is just the beginning." Later, in the quiet of her room, Amara recorded another video, her voice steady and filled with warmth. "Sometimes, life will try to erase your story. But remember this: you are the author of your own life. Your past doesn't define you, your courage does. Stand tall, fight for your truth, and when the world doubts you, keep shining anyway." She ended the recording and smiled, a deep, liberating smile. Outside, the rain had stopped. A rainbow arched across the sky, brilliant and unstoppable. Amara stepped out, letting the soft sunlight fall on her face. She took Leonard's hand, and together they walked forward, not into the shadows of the past, but into the promise of tomorrow. The foundation would rise again. The girls would return. And Amara Leonard, once a maid, now a queen of her own story, would continue to shine, stronger, wiser, and unafraid. For the first time in weeks, Amara felt truly free. And somewhere, far away, Belinda's threat seemed smaller than ever, mere whispers against the roar of a life reclaimed. Because Amara had learned the most powerful truth of all: no one can steal what you refuse to surrender. Your heart, your purpose, your light. Weeks after Amara's foundation began to regain stability, Belinda attempted one final move. She hacked into a small partner organization's database, hoping to leak false reports, linking Amara to embezzlement again. But this time, Amara's team was ready. Leonard had installed advanced security systems, and every move Belinda made was traced in real time. The authorities intercepted her digital traces and summoned her for questioning. Confronted with irrefutable evidence of blackmail, fraud, and tampering, Belinda's confident facade crumbled. In the presence of investigators, journalists, and even a few former colleagues she had tried to manipulate, she was forced to admit her crimes. I acted out of jealousy," she stammered, her voice trembling. "I wanted what she had. I thought I could take it from her." Amara, watching quietly from the corner, felt a wave of relief rather than triumph. Leonard squeezed her hand gently, and she realized that Belinda's downfall wasn't about revenge. It was the natural consequence of truth. Belinda was prosecuted, her attempts to harm Amara and the foundation exposed publicly. Sponsors and supporters reaffirmed their faith in Amara's integrity, and the charity's reputation rebounded stronger than ever. In the end, Belinda was left isolated and disgraced, a cautionary shadow against the light Amara had fought so hard to preserve. And Amara, stronger and wiser, stepped fully into her role as a leader and protector for those who needed her most. If you believe in courage, second chances, and standing for the truth, Don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories. Let's lift each other up, one story at a time.